The first time Chak saw Addis, he forgot he was poor. That was how his trouble began. Chak was a mason from Saka, strong and quiet, with hands hardened by years of lifting bricks and mixing cement. Every morning he walked barefoot to the new construction site at Enugu GRA, where rich men built houses that looked like palaces. That was where he met her, Addis Okonkwo, the only daughter of Chief Augustine Okonkwo, one of the wealthiest businessmen in Enugu. It was a hot afternoon. Chak was mixing sand when a black Prado SUV stopped nearby. The door opened, and a lady stepped out, light-skinned, graceful, wearing sunglasses and a white dress that shimmered like sunlight on water. When she asked where she could find the site manager, Chak pointed wordlessly, his heart beating fast. "Thank you," she smiled. And that smile stayed with him for days. A week later, fate crossed their paths again. Addis came often to inspect the building. She said it was her father's new house. One day, Chak saw her struggling with her car tire and offered to help. He fixed it with his rough hands, sweat dripping down his chest. "Do you always help strangers like this?" she asked playfully. "Only when the stranger smiles like you," he replied before he could stop himself. She laughed. And that laugh was the beginning of everything. They started meeting secretly, under the old mango tree behind the site, by the small stream that ran through the outskirts of town. Addis brought him food sometimes, jollof rice packed neatly in a flask, and Chak brought her laughter and warmth she said money could never buy. They talked about dreams. She wanted to be free from her father's shadow. He wanted to own a small building company. But love in their world was not free. One evening, Chief Okonkwo's driver followed Addis and saw her holding Chak's hand. By nightfall, the chief knew everything. The next day, men in black coats came to the site. They dragged Chak out before everyone. "Dog," one of them spat. "You dare touch Chief's daughter." Before Chak could speak, a blow split his lip. They threw him into a waiting van. That night, Addis screamed and cried, but her father's words were cold. "Would you marry a mason? Over my dead body." Chak was locked up in Saka prison. The charge: trespassing and theft. Lies. But in Nigeria, truth bends for the rich. He spent months behind bars. The days turned into weeks of hunger, beatings, and sleepless nights. Yet whenever the guards mocked him, he smiled and whispered her name, Addis. Letters she sent never reached him. Bribes she tried to offer for his release were rejected. Her father made sure of that. Still, Chak refused to hate. "If love brought me here," he told a fellow inmate, "then let love be the reason I survive." 2 years passed. His body became thin, his hands weaker, but his spirit didn't break. Sometimes, he carved her name into the prison wall. Each letter was a prayer. Then one cold morning, he fell sick. Typhoid, they said. No one treated him. When Addis finally discovered where he was held, she rushed to the prison with a doctor and begged to see him. The guard looked down and said quietly, "Madam, he died yesterday." They found his body lying peacefully on the thin prison mat, a faint smile still on his cracked lips. In his hand, they found a piece of stone scratched with words. Asterisk, tell Addis I didn't die for pain. I died for love. Asterisk. At his burial, Addis knelt beside his grave, tears soaking the red Nsaka earth. She refused to eat for days. Her father tried to comfort her, but she looked him in the eye and said, "You killed a man richer than you will ever be." Years later, she built a small school in his name, Chak Foundation for the Poor. On the gate were words engraved in bold letters. Asterisk, a love cannot be imprisoned. Asterisk. And those who passed by always stopped to read it, and to remember the poor man who died, but whose love never did.